So you gotta grab the collection. This one. Trying to be all careful. Alright, I got a few others. What up everyone, how's it going? Matt Sweets Jorgensen here, and we are back in the museum for another tour. Today we are gonna go through everything that helped me start Sweets Kendamas, from the very first kendama that I ever played, to the very first kendamas I ever ordered, to some of the very first kendamas I ever painted. Now I always tell this story, but I never have the Damas to back it up, so I'm really excited to go through that story and share it with you all today. I hope everyone's at home staying safe and staying healthy. We hope to give you a little bit of enjoyment here while we're all quarantined at home. So just wanted to make sure that you know that everyone out here at Sweets Kendamas is hoping everyone is staying safe and doing what they can to help get past this, because we got lots of great days and more days of Dama ahead of us. So everyone just keep jamming, leveling up, and let's get into this museum tour. Now, like I said before, I always tell the story of Sweets Kendamas and how it started, but the Damas are here in the museum, so I never get to attach it to any of that. So we're gonna go through a little tour, and that has to start with the first kendama I ever played. And that is this. My cousin Shane is a skier, and he had this in his basement. We were watching a video, and all the skiers went to Japan, and when they were there, they found kendama. And they put it in their video, and I was like, I have to play that. I've yo-yoed, I've juggled, I've all this stuff. Kendama looks sick. And so he's like, oh, I think I got one in my basement. He pulled this out. And so this is what I knew kendama as from the first day that I ever saw it. After that, I didn't do much with it. I didn't think about it much. I didn't play or do much. And then I went back to his house. I played it again, and that kind of sparked my interest to be like, okay, this is something I want to do. This kind of looks fun. Let's try to find one. Found one online. It's a TK16, which I do not have, but that's kind of what got me started on my kendama journey, playing kendama. And then I got to a point where I was like, okay, my friends want some kendamas. I'm buying them from Japan. It's costing me too much money. How am I going to get kendamas to my friends in a cheaper way? So I was like, well, let's see if China can manufacture kendamas. We did a little research, and we found our factory, Hanrui, that makes kendamas. And these are the first kendamas ever, right here. Line them up, Coop says. Let's line them up. I almost have the whole collection. I'm missing one color, and that is orange. We'll just go behind like this. Orange is the only color I'm missing. But when I started Sweets Kendamas, these were my original 10 colors that I picked. This one was supposed to be like mine. Like that was the one that I wanted to be like my pro model, if you will. This one was after the company, the green and the black. This one is the Rasta, because that's just something I really loved. And the gold and black I thought hit, and the yellow and blue I thought hit. And this is where we started. The only problem was that when we opened these Damas and started playing with them, the paint started to fall off within minutes. I had chips galore. You can see on this one there's a nice dinger in it. The paint just fell off. And that's kind of where I was like, okay, I spent all the money in my life on these kendamas, and now the paint falls off. What am I gonna do next? And I had to sell them. And kendamas today chip still, you know, and that was my point back then, is the paint's gonna fall off. It's just one of those things that happens. There were no other options, so people had to buy my kendamas. So we worked through them, and then we started actually trying to figure out how to paint our own kendamas, because we wanted to be in charge. But before I go on to that one, I just wanted to show you some stuff about this original Dama. Some things that make it unique. You'll notice the shape is very weird. This bottom is super chunky. The cups are really, really small. Like the bottom cup and the small cup are really small, and they're very concave. The Tama is the smallest Tama your life's ever seen. Most of you new players who have the Boost Kendama, this is probably like 5 millimeters smaller. So a very, very big difference there. I didn't measure the Ozora seal when I went to go buy my seals. I just assumed it was an inch because I'm an idiot, and I just assumed that that's what it would be. So when I bought the seals and they came, they were too big, I said, well, we don't have money to buy new ones, so let's put them on there. So this is our original seal, which is the city of Minneapolis with a Kendama on it, and there's an SK in there. My tattoo artist who did my Kendama tattoo, he designed our first logo, so that's what that is. And then again, I'm not a graphic designer, so down here is like some Comic Sans variant that we use for our initial font, because that's what they were like, hey, what font do you want? I said, that one looks cool. So the graphic design was not my forte, which is why we have Paulson on our squad, because I knew early on we needed someone who had that skill. So that's why Paulson's here. So good start, good first try, but we knew that we could do better and that there was bigger things on the horizon. So then we decided to buy some Natty Kendamas. We decided to buy 50 Natty Kendamas to see if we could try our hand at painting Kendamas for the very first time. And believe it or not, we were able to pull it off. Our friend had a cabinet painting workshop in his basement. He painted cabinets for a living. And we were like, can we come over and just try to paint some of these balls? We got some stickers, we got some 3 different paints. We want to like try to do some designs. This is one of the designs. We had white, red, blue, and purple paint. We primed them all with like a red paint to start. And then we started applying the stickers, and these are just dots from like Office Max. You know, we just went to the office supply store and got whatever stickers we could. And we started just striping and pinstriping and doing stuff. There's a photo I repost every year, and I'm not sure where you can find it, probably on the Sweets Facebook page, but it shows the whole 45 or the whole 50 set of custom Damas. I don't have one anymore. I lost mine at some point in time. I think most of our friends did. Joe Spitzenberger, this is his personal one that I was at his house and I saw it and I was like, dude, that needs to live in the museum because it's the only one left in the whole world. That's Joe's little sig. The rest we wholesaled to Unalaska, Alaska. There was a lady when we started selling these who just really got into it and wanted to buy all of them, and we never had made sale like that before, so we were like, okay, you can buy them. And so we sold them, and I've never seen them again in my whole life. So if somehow, some way, someone's watching this YouTube video from Unalaska, Alaska, or you have your hands on one of these Damas, I would love to buy it back from you. So just hit the comments and we can make a deal. But yeah, first Dama, one of the only ones left. So super big piece of Sweets history right there. So that one told us we could paint Damas, that people did like if we made Damas look cool. Another thing that helped inspire us to do our custom journey was this one. I believe Mirik is the one who created this. It's one of 11, I believe. Again, Mirik, comment below if I'm incorrect. This is Jeffrey Von Rasta's. I didn't buy one of these when they originally dropped. I just messed up and didn't do it. And I always regretted it. And Jeffrey, a good friend of mine from Amsterdam, he ended up giving this to me as a gift one year. So I really appreciate it. It's on a Sunrise Kendama, for those of you who don't know. Sunrise was like a European brand that started around the time Sweets did. But they... very cool people, but this helped me, this helped inspire me. Like, man, if I love that Kendama so much, other people are probably gonna love it if I do that to Kendama. So there is where it all started. So all of that leads us to our first paint shop ever, and us taking on the custom journey and deciding that that's what we want to do as a company. And we have some really cool photos to go along with it. First photo. This is our original shop. This white barn. Essentially, it's where they stored lawnmowers and stuff, and they were gonna tear it down. And we were like, yo, can we just keep it up? We're gonna try to refurnish it. We're gonna fix everything. We're gonna make it a paint booth. This was at my business partner's house. He was renting a house, and in the back of it, they had this garage that they were just gonna tear down because they didn't use it anymore. So that's our original paint shop. And here is 20-year-old Sweets. This is Mike Roberts, and this is Kevin Johnson, two of my good friends, and they're marbling for the very first time there. This is like one of the first marble sessions we did, and we would just work outside on easels and 2x4s and whatever you had, you know? So now, this is the outside, and then this is the inside. So, we, like I said, we refinished all the walls and we put in a door. We put in a filter for, you know, safety. And then we had this is the fan that blew out all the, that's where we sprayed the paint into. And these are the first 5 balls we ever sprayed as a company. And it's really crazy that we have this photo still. And I don't know how I found it on the internet, but I did. And so this is where it all started. This is how Sweets Kendamas was born, with those 5 Tamas right there, and we never looked back. And we worked for sandwiches for a very long time. Joe Spitzenberger, I have to give him another shout out. I say we built that shed. Joe built the shed. I was there handing him nails and what tools he needed, but Joe was really the man who put that all together and was able to like bring my idea to life. So I can't thank him enough. He still works here today. He's the production manager downstairs. He's cushioning your Tamas as we speak. So it's really cool to have Joe as like the dude who helped me like really start Sweets Kendamas, like literally by pounding nails into walls, and he's now here today still as a production manager and a really good friend. So shout out Joe Spitz. Yeah, he's a huge part of why Sweets is great today. So we have our shop, we have our paint booth, and now we are starting to experiment with all kinds of different paint and all kinds of different designs to see what people like. This was one of our first designs. We really liked Rasta. It was just, the colorway is a colorway that we really dug and it really popped, and it was something that we thought people would dig. So this is one of our first custom lines that we ever did. And I'll get a little bit closer so you can see it. The seal, you'll notice we're already into a different generation. So as I pick these Kendamas up, you're gonna notice that the seals change and that the shape changes and that the different logos change. So everything's gonna change as time goes on, because in the beginning, our factory would make changes without telling us. So we would get a new set of Kendamas, it would be a new shape, and we didn't expect a new shape, didn't ask for a new shape. We may have mentioned a couple cool things that you try, but we would get brand new shapes. So then we would make new seals, because I wanted to make sure that everything was like Ozura JKA style, where new seals denoted new times and new parts of Sweets Kendama's history, and it kind of worked, because you can tell like this seal was like hand cut by me. We literally like clear coated stickers and cut them out of paper because they were rubbing off when we used them. So we would clear coat stickers and cut them out ourselves. It was insane, like all the way DIY from the beginning. Again, just another example of some crazy stuff. This was a king, Natty. This was a Mardi Gras king, but Kevin Johnson, the guy who was marbling the first one, he was all about the king. And these are just punch outs that we bought from Michael's, and we would punch out tape and we would put the tape on the Dama and spray it, and these are the Damas that we made from it. It was so DIY, but we realized that that's what made us different. Like, that's what made us Sweets Kendamas, is that you could get something that no one else could make. This is my first custom ever. I figured I would show you guys. It's pretty ratchet. This one just says focus in like Helvetica 12. Like, this was the worst logo of all. And this was the worst Kendama of all, because the cups were so shallow that you couldn't almost do any trick. It was so bad. Like, definitely the worst Kendama we've ever made in our whole life. But this Dama has like 20 coats of clear. And it was, when we started making clear coats, we thought that hard was best, because we wanted to protect our cool designs. So we really put the most hard, extreme, like car paint we could put on this thing. So you can see the divots that are taking out of it. It's pretty crazy. And this one shattered like glass, because I put so many layers on it because I didn't want it to like peel like all the rest. So, and it's a really weird design. It's got that vertical stripe with like a half there and then a half this way. It's really not a good Kendama for plain Kendama, but it was what I thought was cool. And green and black, of course, still today. So I think that one's cool. And then here's another one I made. This one's kind of like a helmet. Again, I don't know why I liked symmetry and why I thought that was cool. But the ones I always painted were like super thick, because I wasn't a painter. Painting wasn't my dream. You know, I didn't start Sweets Kendamas because I loved art and loved painting Kendamas. Like, I loved selling Kendamas and I loved spreading Kendama, and I knew that cool designs helped us get there. So creating cool designs was something I loved, but actually painting was something that I really did not enjoy. So other people painted most Kendamas, so I tried to pull a few that I actually like painted myself. We did the state fair every year, and so we made custom Kendamas. It's kind of one thing. It's the Minnesota State Fair is one of the largest in the whole world. I think like not the whole world, the whole United States. There's like one other state, maybe Texas is bigger than ours. But we got in there because of our friend Mikey Bretto, and we sold at a puppet booth for 4 or 5 years in Minnesota. And that really helped get our start here in Minnesota and helped us find a lot of cool people that are actually part of our company and part of our pro team today. So this is from 2012, so I just wanted to kind of flex that. 2012, we've been doing some custom stuff, and it's pretty crazy. Again, another seal, not hand cut by me, ordered from the internet. So here we have the Chaz Edwards Pro Model. This one was hand spun by me. I remember the day me and Gabe were in the booth that I just showed you, marbling these ones for the state fair. It's seafoam and maroon, and he had his own seal. So even from the beginning, we've been doing pro models, and we've been trying to really highlight those different players and giving them their own like custom setup. And yeah, so we've been doing pro models for a really long time. I thought that was a cool thing to show. I'm gonna start putting these back here so my right side doesn't get too crazy. Okay, now we are always trying to make new clears, is like what I wanted to get across to people too. So I have a lot of Damas in my collection that are just like different clear coats from different years, because part of my job as Sweets Kendamas is testing the clear. I take a lot of pride in how our Kendamas play because I'm a Kendama player. So from the very beginning, I've needed to test everything we make in order to make sure that it is good enough for you, the consumer who loves Kendama as well. So these are just 3 different ones that are different progressions of like our sticky clear coat that we tried to perfect that we still never really did, you know. Cushion clear is more of a matte, not so much a high gloss sticky, and we always tried to do that, and these are a few different versions. UV green was always my favorite. This was one of my Percy Damas that I just hacked up. We hand dyed Kendamas at Sweets too, which is something crazy. We would sit and just put Kens in tubs of dye and hand dry them out in the sun like for days, you know. That was like part of our job. Again, another green Tama. This was like starting of the sticky icky, which was what I wanted to show you here. Just like we thought we finally figured out the sticky game, and that's why we made a seal for it and everything. Sticky icky. And this was like the drop, and it was kind of it was pretty sticky, but some of these stickies were gummy, and it was just super bad. It's really hard. Like I keep kind of looking up at Cooper because I'm trying to explain how Kendama stickiness has changed very much over the years, and it's really hard to explain like the progression from like 2013 to now, what a sticky Kendama means. But sticky back in the day literally meant like gummy, like it was really sticky, you know. And now sticky means more like, I guess it's kind of gummy. I'm not even like on the right page. It's just really weird. It seems like it was different back then because we were painting in our sheds. Like Sour Mash was painting it by hand. We were painting it by hand. The stickiest paint came from people who painted in America because China still hadn't figured out how to do it perfect yet. So lots of different versions of sticky clear before we ever got to the Kush clear. So I mentioned marbles. We showed you a photo of people marbling. This is one of our first sessions. So marbling is just an idea that a friend had that showed us, and we kind of took it and ran with it. And this was our first like chance to see how it went and how it looked, and people really dug it, and we got a lot of responses from it, and kind of became what Sweets Kendamas was known for many years. Like that was our calling card, if you will. Like people had stripes and people had this and that, but Sweets had marbles. And yeah, dude, it was like super secret. And we told people like one time that we like used a squirt gun, and people like bought it and like thought that that's how we did it. But we tell people today now because it really doesn't matter, because it's such a hard process and it takes so long, and it's really hard. It's really, really difficult to make it happen. So you couldn't, even if I told you how to do it, it wouldn't matter because you'd get sick of it after 5 minutes of doing it. So I've been talking about lots of seals, and I wanted to show this photo. I think it was Christian Fraser who took this photo. Maybe not, maybe it was a fan, I can't remember. I think it was Christian though. These are all the seals, the progression, like kind of from the ones that I just showed you. That's the old seal. This is the focus that I cut out with my hand. This is the one that came after that. The pros had their own versions of these ones. After stickers cost money, so we realized we should probably stop doing stickers because we needed to save some money. So we went to this one, which is like the F3. And then the Sweets is on the Prime, I think. And then that's where, and this is the homegrown seal. So, you know, there could be an updated photo of this one now for sure, but this is a really cool photo that shows off the progression. And I know like when these all came from, and I know what Tamas are probably on top based on like what seals on the bottom. And that's pretty cool to me. Okay, we're getting down to the end of it. I know you've been listening to me for a while, just talk on about Sweets, but I hope you love it because I never really get to share these stories or tell these stories about these Damas any other time. So it's really cool to be able to share these with you. Chameleon is something that we became famous for as well. It was this color where if you put the light on it the right way, it would shimmer. and the paint was just super durable. It was like our first like pro clear that was really, really durable. And if you broke it in right, it played amazingly. So we had this one, we had a ruby one, and we had like a green one and a blue one. The US government, when they made the new $100 bills, actually bought all the rights to this paint, and so we had to stop making chameleons in like 2014 or something when they bought all the rights to that paint. And so that's why chameleons stopped being painted, fun fact, because the government bought all the paint. Like I said, we hand dyed stuff, so another just like we dyed Tamas, so that's blue dye. But like again, we were just trying to differentiate ourselves, doing stuff that other people couldn't. Two random Damas that I wanted to show you. We did minis and biggies, we called them. Piggies and Smalls. Hahaha, right? This was a custom one that was really intense, done by Kevin. So many lines. And his king was just, the King Natty is what his name was. But I thought this one was really cool. Christian was gonna sell it, and I was like, dude, screw you. You need to give that to me, and we need to put it in the museum. It doesn't deserve to be anywhere else but here. And then minis. Minis were fun, but they were just like difficult. And so we didn't do a lot of them. So there aren't many, which is why I wanted to show one. It's really weird shape, really small Tama. I spent a lot of time painting these, and we didn't sell many of them, so fun fact there. Okay, so I got two more Damas for you. Look at this beautiful Dama. This isn't actually how this Dama was made. They are two separate parts, but I thought they looked sick together, so I wanted to show you them. This is a white focus Kendama. When we made these, they sold like crazy. Kind of like, you know, it was the GT of back then. And we sold these and people would buy them and sell them on eBay for like $80 to $100. And all we did was paint them white. But when Kendama started, again, it was just no one had white Kendamas. And it looked really crispy when you put a nasty Tama on it. So people wanted them to lace up with their other Tamas. So this is a really, really cool part of Sweets history. So if you have one of these, hold on to it because it's really dope. And it was actually really tacky. Like the cups helped with the paint, helped on the slick Tamas of the day. And this is a Cosmic Crush Tama. I recently saw a young man who bought this on a homegrown Ken for like 200 plus. I wonder if I have one in the... I do. I didn't know if I had a real one. Cosmic Crush. Oh, rare because like the first batch peeled and we made a second batch and like only X got shipped out. So it was like this, and there weren't many homegrowns that were like super desired in the beginning, but this was one of them, and there aren't many. So if you have one that's in good condition, apparently it's worth $200 or so. So I thought that was pretty cool to see that show up on eBay. And I saw one in my suitcase sitting back there, so I figured I'd show you guys what we got hanging. Son of a, I always do that, Coop. I can't believe it. So I have this wonderful, coffee mug here. And I just thought I knocked it over and spilt it everywhere, but I knocked it over and it landed just like that. Okay, so that was second to last. Now, last but not least. A Dama that is special for a couple of reasons. One, because it's super sick. Two, because it was painted for Christian Fraser. And three, because the man behind the lens who's filming all this wonderful stuff, Cooper Eddy, painted it him very self. Cooper Eddy painted this himself. Pretty amazing. Before Cooper was ever a Kendama pro or professional videographer, he was just a kid in high school who wanted to paint some Damas, you know? And this was Cooper Eddy custom Kendama. So I wanted to show that as just like a thing that you probably didn't know. Most people watching this YouTube video, that Cooper had a custom line for a little bit, made a few Damas, and this one was really dope. So yeah, that's where the story ends today, my friends. I really hope you enjoyed it. You get to learn a little bit about the Sweets Kendama story and where it came from. We're gonna go deeper into the later part of Sweets Kendamas in a different video. But if you liked this one, make sure you go give us a comment. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. We're on our way to 100K and we are almost there. So everyone counts. So please go do that and check out another video. We got some tutorials in these trying times. Go learn a new trick, teach yourself something new, go play Kendama, and have a nice day. See you guys next time. Peace. Thanks a lot for tuning in and checking out our videos. Make sure you go and smash that subscribe button right there. We need all the subscribers we can get. Also, you can shop right here. Go to Sweets Kendamas and get yourself a new Dama.